We're working with those businesses now to get better information and reporting, which will actually help us.
So taking a look at how the ramping up of government intervention has impacted cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin's value has plummeted from its highs in December last year. It hit almost $20,000 on the 18th of December. Its current spot price is around $8,000. So it's represented a drop of about 50% over that period. Meanwhile, Australian comparison site Finder says red tape is potentially impacting the price of cryptocurrencies. According to Finder's latest HIVEX cryptocurrency report, the Australian cryptocurrency exchanges face limitations that prevent Australians from making large-scale crypto transactions. This cuts out Australian-based exchanges from reaching a large portion of the market and could be preventing crypto traders from realising gains. In response to this issue, Finder has launched HIVEX, a cryptocurrency exchange that allows investors to make purchases of between $50,000 and $100 million in value. For more on HIVEX, Finder CEO Fred Schebesta joins me live at the desk. Fred, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Gemma. How are you?
Yeah, well, thank you. So my favourite comment about Bitcoin comes from John Oliver. You've probably heard this one, which is that it is everything you don't know about money combined with everything you don't know about computers. I think many investors are a little bit unsure. The platform that you have only caters to sophisticated investors. So can you talk us through how the sophisticated investor requirements work and why you apply them?
Yeah, so I guess, this is obviously a major new asset class that's going to be part of everyone's portfolio in the future. We're in those times of the internet versus, when Google wasn't Google, if you could invest back before it was Google. Now's the time to do that. So what we do is we basically use the same rules that you need to sign for a sophisticated investor, where they, obviously need to do your own research. This is not I'm not giving financial advice. But you can definitely buy large-scale amounts of cryptocurrency and invest in that and make that part of your portfolio.
So back to those sophisticated investor requirements, you need to have a pretty large portfolio or a very high income, or alternatively find someone to say you know so much about investing that you're off the hook from the retail investor requirements. Yeah,
so we get them to sign a form from their accountant saying they've got over either $2.5 million of assets, or they earn over $200,000 a year over the last 2 years. And once that's sort of done, then you're basically a sophisticated investor.
So why do you apply that? Most other crypto exchanges sort of don't use those requirements. For you guys, what's the reasoning behind that?
Well, I guess we're trading in large scale of cryptocurrencies, right? You're buying, between $200 to $10 million worth. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
even for people with $2.5 million.
Yeah. And considering obviously, the prices have moved a lot. These are very savvy investors who are getting in right now while the market's very low. That's obviously the best time to buy. When there's lots of fear in the water, that's a good time to buy. That's what the sophisticated investors are really doing right now.
Okay, so outside of government regulation, obviously governments are starting to be much more conscientious about this sector. They're starting to regulate. We heard from AUSTRAC just then. The biggest thing people have to fear, and most people do fear, is hacking. So hacking, theft, fraud, data security, all those sorts of issues. What sort of protections do you guys put in place for your investors?
Yeah, so I guess we advise everyone to use hard and cold wallets, which are sort of pieces of technology. Like when you're internet banking, you have a little token. It looks pretty much the same as that. And obviously save that and store that either in a vault or somewhere very safe. Don't put it, on your hotel table, because that's probably where it will get stolen. Any sophisticated investor will have a series of security measures. I can't really talk about them because obviously it reveals how people store their cryptocurrency.
Okay, fair enough. So one of the things that's quite interesting, you're now opting into the AUSTRAC regime. That's on your website, that you're opting into that regime now. One of the things that's a bit interesting to me about that is the data matching then allows the ATO to see what people are up to. One thing that the ATO has come out recently, one of the other regulators that's quite interested in this sector, is that trading in crypto is absolutely accessible income for their purposes. So they'll be looking at capital gains. They'll be looking at whether or not you're trading so much that it's considered part of your accessible income. Do you think most investors are aware of that and take that into consideration?
So I think they are aware that, there's no way to avoid paying tax. It's deemed a commodity. It's a capital gains tax. I think, and I suggest everyone should pay their taxes. It's good for the economy. It's good for everyone. And I think the one part that's a little bit grey is if you trade one crypto to another crypto, and I think that there's a petition right now on change.org in terms of really making that fair and accessible, because it's almost too complex. So if you trade Bitcoin for Ethereum and you make a profit, but you haven't traded out to fiat currency, have you made a profit? Have you not? Well, you're still exposed to major risk. And I think we should actually simplify that. So that's something I think we should change. Yeah,
interesting. So final question. On your website, it talks about the cryptocurrencies most expected to increase in value and by what amount. Looks like Dogecoin's going to the moon. Anyone who's not seen the YouTube clip, I'd strongly recommend you have a look at it. That was originally created as a joke, am I right?
Yes, I think, parking Dogecoin for a second, I'd look at currencies like, there's a really, really amazing coin called Raven Coin, which actually tokenizes assets. Now, most people don't know about this, but it is going to be one of those things. It's the early technology. It looks like the early Google days. This is going to be huge. Another coin to look out for is EOS. It's actually going up in value, and in June it's going to be releasing its mainnet. But I'm obviously a big Bitcoin fan, and I believe in Bitcoin and where it's going to go, and I think they've got some of the greatest developers out there. The other coins, every coin has a mild amount of speculation, but I'm obviously a big believer in those ones.
Fred, thanks for your time.
No worries.
Thank you. Okay, coming up after the break, your pre-30 June tax checklist with Mark Chapman from H&R Block. Stay with us.